I couldn't help but shout, "Wow!" There were so many impressive angles of the Super Heavy catch attempt, but the one I was waiting for most, the onboard view, finally appeared, and it revealed some fascinating details. It looks like B-12 may be ready for the next steps. Meanwhile, Falcon Heavy successfully completed the Europa Clipper mission, setting important milestones and breaking records along the way. This mission paved the way for SpaceX to reach its 100th launch soon after. October has been incredible, hasn't it? So let's dive into all of this in today's episode of Great SpaceX. Super Heavy B-12 is currently resting stably on the orbital launch mount after what Elon Musk described as a difficult journey. But that challenge made history, so let's rewind and see it from a different perspective. SpaceX recently released an onboard flight view on X, providing a stunning top-down angle. It gives us a clear view of the vast area surrounding the launch site, but naturally the main focus is on Super Heavy's systems. In this view, we can clearly see the grid fins working hard to steer the booster, an essential factor in helping B-12 move precisely into the middle of the chopsticks for the catch. We also witnessed the moment the landing burn engines activated, marked by a notable flame. Initially large, the flame reduces in size as the middle ring engines cycle on and off during the burn. From the bottom-up view, we can see the center engines of B-12 performing effectively. Beyond providing the necessary force to slow down, these gimbal engines continuously adjust their direction, guiding B-12 along a precise path. SpaceX commented, the final phase of Super Heavy's landing burn used the 3 center Raptor engines to precisely steer into catch position. However, what really caught my attention was that one side of the booster, specifically near the ship QD, or quick disconnect area, seemed to burn more intensely. From other angles, we can also observe that while the fire wasn't large, it burned quite fiercely. Comparing the livestream with post-flight images, the shine on the ship QD side appears slightly damaged, likely from the fire during landing. Fortunately, the damage is minimal and can be easily repaired. In the onboard footage, we also get a clear, slow-motion view of the moment when Super Heavy connects with the chopsticks, allowing us to closely observe this incredible feat. It's a perfect combination, timed down to the second. The way the chopsticks close is highly proactive, and after closing, the lifting point touches the landing rail, then lowers the booster. This step raised a lot of concerns before the flight, but after seeing how smoothly it worked, I have great confidence in the success of future missions. Musk even affirmed, good chance that Starship achieves full stack reusability in 2025, which is the critical breakthrough needed to make life multiplanetary. And that's how the difficult journey of Super Heavy B-12 ended. The more data SpaceX releases, the more fascinating insights we gain from witnessing Mechazilla's catch of Super Heavy. It's no exaggeration to call it one of the most greatest aerospace feats of the first half of this decade. Incredible! Musk himself said it is such an honor to work with the incredible SpaceX team. I really appreciate this statement from Elon. If you agree, type in incredible in the comment section down below to honor the SpaceX team for their monumental effort. Don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to our channel to continue following SpaceX's journey. After this great landing, there's still a lot of work ahead for B-12 and the SpaceX team. On the morning of October 14th, Texas time, one day after the launch and catching attempt, the booster transport stand was moved to the launch site, signaling the upcoming movement of B-12. By noon, the Flight Termination System, or FTS for short, was removed from the booster, preparing it for the next steps. Additionally, a brief road closure schedule was announced from 12 noon to 3 p.m. on October 15th and from 12 midnight to 3 in the morning on October 16th. This likely signals B-12's transport to the production site, where it will undergo thorough inspections, including checks on the shine and engines, and then refurbishment. Based on the current situation, I think B-12 may be reflown. The prototypes for the next flight have already been determined, S31 and B13, as well as S32 and B14. If B-12 flies again, which ship do you think it'll be paired with? S-20, S-26, or perhaps a V-2 prototype? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Regardless of what happens next, SpaceX has taken the first step toward full reusability. Both the booster and ship will need further upgrades to achieve that goal, but the success of Flight 5 lays the foundation for more frequent flights. I expect we'll see another launch before the year ends. Let's wait and see. Now, let's dive into updates on the Falcon Heavy mission. On October 14th at 12:06 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, a Falcon Heavy launched from LC-39A at the Kennedy Space Center, carrying NASA's Europa Clipper spacecraft. Due to the unique demands of this mission, all 3 Falcon Heavy boosters were expendable, unlike most previous flights where the side boosters were recovered for reuse. After the upper stage completed its second burn, placing the spacecraft on an Earth escape trajectory, the Europa Clipper successfully separated from the stage with a little over an hour after liftoff. Minutes later, the spacecraft made contact with ground controllers, relaying telemetry that confirmed it was in excellent condition. The Europa Clipper mission is one of NASA's most expensive science missions, with a projected total lifecycle cost of $5.2 billion. That includes 4 years of operations after it arrives at Jupiter in 2030. The mission aims to explore the ice-covered water on Jupiter's moon, Europa, potentially expanding the boundaries of human knowledge and exploration. Musk commented on this mission, saying, "Europa has the highest chance of life in our solar system because of the thick, protective shell of ice that covers its ocean. If even simple bacterial life is discovered on Europa, this will be the most significant planetary mission ever," Musk added. Despite development challenges, including issues with transistors, the Europa Clipper team managed to stay on schedule. With the reliable support of Falcon Heavy, the mission launch was a success. However, even with all 3 booster cores expended, Falcon Heavy couldn't send Europa Clipper directly to Jupiter. Instead, the spacecraft will make a flyby of Mars in early 2025 and another of Earth in late 2026, finally arriving at Jupiter in April of 2030. This mission has earned much praise. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson remarked, "Today we embark on a new journey across the solar system in search of the ingredients for life within Jupiter's icy moon. Our next chapter in space exploration has begun." Musk also expressed his pride, stating, "One of our most important launches ever. Super glad it went well." This launch marked Falcon Heavy's second mission of the year and its 11th overall. While not as prolific as last year, it still demonstrates a solid year for SpaceX. After delays caused by storms and an FAA investigation, this success represents a strong comeback for Falcon Heavy. But what's more significant, this was SpaceX's 99th mission of 2024, breaking their previous record of 98 last year. This milestone reinforces SpaceX's continued dominance in the space industry, with 2.5 months remaining in the year to extend this new record. While Falcon Heavy may not launch again this year, Falcon 9 and possibly Starship will continue to lead SpaceX's growing orbital fleet. SpaceX is undoubtedly shaping the future of space exploration. Let's see what incredible achievements lie ahead. On the path of unprecedented success, we must highlight SpaceX's 100th mission of the year, a remarkable milestone. At the time of creating this video, the mission has not launched yet, but by the time you're watching, it may have already soared to success. This mission is carried out by Falcon 9, launching from SLC-40 in Florida, sending 23 Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit. The booster for this launch, B-1080, is on its 11th mission. This seasoned booster has a rich history, having launched the Axiom 2 and 3 missions, 2 Cargo Dragon missions, and the Euclid telescope for the European Space Agency. After delivering its payload, B-1080 is planning to land on A Shortfall of Gravitas drone ship. If successful, this will mark the 81st landing on that particular drone ship and the 353rd booster landing in SpaceX history. This mission is particularly significant as it represents the 95th Falcon 9 launch of the year, further extending SpaceX's record for the most launches within a calendar year. When combined with 2 Falcon Heavy missions and 3 Starship missions, this launch will officially bring SpaceX to an astounding 100 launches in 2024, a feat that no other organization has ever achieved, and one that SpaceX narrowly missed last year. The significance of these milestones cannot be overstated. It's truly remarkable that SpaceX has accomplished so many groundbreaking achievements in just the past few days alone. With the rest of the year still ahead, we can anticipate even more records being set. I'm already planning to create a year-end video to summarize SpaceX's extraordinary accomplishments in 2024. If you're on board with this idea, go ahead and say, "Okay, Kevin," in the comments down below. This has been an exhilarating journey, and the future promises to be just as exciting. And that is guaranteed. The recent catching attempt was remarkably successful, exceeding many people's expectations and alleviating pre-flight concerns. This success can be attributed to several factors, including upgrades to the chopstick system and the capabilities of the Raptor engines. Additionally, the grid fin played a significant role in B-12's navigation. However, it is important to understand how the grid fin system operates. The grid fins are designed for precise control during re-entry and landing, making them crucial for the vehicle's stability. Despite its success, few have focused on the grid fin system, which actually experienced some challenges. Specifically, at T plus 2 minutes and 40 seconds during the separation process, the hot staging technique came into play. As many are aware, this method allows the engines on the ship to activate while still attached to the booster. While we have discussed the role of hot staging extensively, this time it appears to have impacted the grid fin. When the engines activated, the resulting flame flow seemed to affect the grid fin, as evidenced by camera angles from both the booster and the ship. The potential consequences of this impact are significant, as any damage to the grid fins could compromise flight safety and performance. Fortunately, this issue did not affect B-12's subsequent journey, as the grid fins continued to navigate effectively, contributing to a successful landing and making history. However, I believe SpaceX should consider upgrading this system. Enhancing the separation mechanism could help prevent any adverse effects on the grid fin and other systems. While it's only a component of the booster, SpaceX aims for full reusability, and they likely would prefer not to replace grid fins after each flight. As the flight concluded, the issues related to B-12, including those concerning the grid fin, will soon undergo analysis. 2 days after its return, B-12 was rolled back to its place of origin at the production site. According to the road closure schedule on the morning of October 15th, B-12 was lifted by chopstick from the OLM and placed onto the booster transport stand, which had been brought to the site earlier. This process took over 2 hours. Immediately afterward, B-12 began its journey from the launch site back to the production site, entering Megabay by the afternoon. Once in Megabay, the vehicle will undergo analysis to assess any issues that arose during the flight, including damage to the chine, grid fin, and engine problems. This data will be crucial for SpaceX in upgrading future prototypes. It remains unclear whether B-12 will be refurbished. Previously, I asked everyone about the possibility of a reflight for B-12. While there is a strong desire for it to fly again, the hardware for the next flight has already been determined, and the V2 has been produced, making it unlikely for B-12 to launch again. Instead, it may serve as a symbol in the rocket garden, much like S-20 or Starhopper, given its contributions to the program. During their recent move, SpaceX also provided us with a new view of the Raptor engines, and my oh my, what a sight to behold. When Musk mentioned that the Raptor nozzles were warped, I was quite concerned. However, the latest images show that the condition of the engines is much better than I had anticipated. The warping appears to be present in one of the 3 inner engines and 1 engine in the outer ring, if my observations are correct. Most of the engines look fine, and I can confidently assert that they meet the standards for full reusability. Of course, the actual issues will still need to be assessed by SpaceX, but I am optimistic about this initial step toward full reusability, as the results are encouraging. Let's look forward to their next steps. Next, let's discuss the significant announcement Musk recently made regarding his plan to catch the ship. During the last flight, S30 demonstrated improved re-entry compared to its predecessor. However, it unfortunately exploded upon making contact with the water. This raises the question of whether SpaceX can successfully catch the ship in the near future. Recently, Musk stated, hopefully early next year we will catch the ship too. This time frame seems reasonable for SpaceX to further enhance its systems. The ship from Flight 5 made notable progress, the re-entry process was impressive, and the flap system remained protected for most of the flight, indicating that the heat shield upgrades were effective. Additionally, this flight continued to benefit from Starlink support, providing a more comprehensive experience than the previous flight. With the success of Flight 5, many, including myself, speculated that the next flight could take place this year. However, given Musk's revelation, we may need to reassess this outlook. There are two possibilities. Firstly, SpaceX could proceed with Flight 6 this year, following the same protocol as Flight 5, meaning the ship would still land in the ocean. If any changes occur, they would likely involve the landing site, potentially shifting to the Pacific to prepare for a later catching attempt, possibly during Flight 7. The second possibility would be to attempt to catch the ship during Flight 6. However, this would likely delay the flight until next year, resulting in no additional flights this year. Each of these options presents challenges that may not align with our expectations. Should SpaceX prioritize a quick launch or focus on achieving a full catch? In my opinion, option 1 seems more reasonable, allowing SpaceX to enhance the reliability of the ship's landing. Feel free to respond with 1 or 2 in the comments to share your thoughts. Your feedback is valuable as it helps us understand the community's perspective on these developments. Regardless of the chosen path, we are approaching a milestone where both stages of Starship could be successfully caught. This would mark the first time a rocket has been fully recovered and reused. Achieving this milestone will serve as a crucial foundation for SpaceX as it moves forward with plans such as launching payloads, developing a refueling system, producing Starship HLS, and preparing for Artemis and Mars missions. As we look ahead, the competitive landscape of the aerospace industry is changing, with SpaceX potentially leading the way. Wrapping up our discussion on Starship, let's turn our attention to the Vulcan Centaur issue. Recently, during a flight, Vulcan's solid rocket booster, or SRB, exploded 35 seconds after liftoff, resulting in the nozzle detaching. Fortunately, this incident did not adversely affect the overall flight outcome. However, according to disclosures from the ULA, this issue temporarily impacted the flight performance. At the International Astronautical Congress on October 14th, ULA CEO Tory Bruno stated, "The net effect of that was less than 2% of the total impulse of the booster." He further added, "We just did not have as much thrust coming out of there as we would like to have." ULA engineers are currently conducting an analysis to better understand the incident. This situation raises concerns about Vulcan's prospects for obtaining Space Force launch certification. Certification is critical as it ensures the rocket meets safety and performance standards necessary for national security missions. The Cert-2 mission is the second of 2 Vulcan launches required for this crucial certification, which, again, is necessary for national security launches. Prior to the Cert-2 incident, ULA had aimed to secure this certification in time to conduct the first 2 national security launches before the end of the year. Given the current circumstances, Tory Bruno has expressed uncertainty regarding the timeline for receiving launch certification, which could significantly impact the company's objectives. It's important to remember that ULA is pursuing certification for Cert-2 in order to launch 2 backlog missions this year, USSF 106 and 87. Beyond that, more than 20 additional missions are queued for the next 2 years. A delay or failure to receive this certification could plunge the company into a significant crisis. One of the most pressing concerns is a potential financial crisis, which could lead to ULA being sold to a new owner. Recently, Sierra Space emerged as a potential buyer. However, their expertise does not lie in rocket development, potentially diminishing Vulcan's prospects. This scenario would be particularly humiliating for ULA, especially given its claims of competing with SpaceX. The situation mirrors ULA's struggle to maintain momentum amid the successes of SpaceX. As Starship Flight 5 achieved successful milestones, the competitive landscape may have shifted in SpaceX's favor. In the military and government payload launch market, SpaceX is also beginning to capture a share of ULA's contracts. If ULA fails to recover from this incident, the company may be left to ponder its place in the industry. In closing, the space race is entering a new era. As SpaceX and ULA navigate these challenges, it will be interesting to see how their paths diverge and the impact on future missions. Stay tuned for more updates. The success of Flight 5 is undeniable, and one moment in particular stands out: the recovery of Super Heavy by Chopstick. This feat marks the most significant achievement of the mission and sets a new standard for future flights. But now, the big question is, what comes next? Are there any issues with Super Heavy or Stage 0, and how might this impact future plans, such as the Flight 6 schedule? Well, SpaceX and Elon Musk have shared an important update following the inspection of Starship Booster 12. The results are promising and pave the way for a bright future ahead. As we all know, after 7 minutes of operation, Super Heavy B12 was successfully caught by the Mechazilla arm, marking an incredible milestone for SpaceX and the aerospace industry. This achievement has opened new doors for the future of reusable rockets. Approximately 2 hours and 38 minutes after liftoff, Chopstick began lowering the booster back to the orbital launch mount. The process was swift, and after just 3 hours, Booster B12 appeared to be securely placed on the OLM. Another update came 8 hours post-launch, confirming that the booster quick disconnect was successfully connected to B12. SpaceX will likely lift the booster onto a transport stand next, allowing it to return to the production site. The transport stand had already been rolled out to the launch site, signaling SpaceX's rapid efforts toward rocket reuse. Meanwhile, the systems beneath the rocket, such as the OLM and water deluge system, appeared to have emerged unscathed. There were no reports of damage to the ship's QD, despite the noticeable flames when the booster passed through the middle of the chopstick. These promising updates confirm that both the Super Heavy booster and the launch pad remain in excellent condition after the flight, a conclusion confirmed by both Elon Musk and SpaceX. The most detailed update on Super Heavy and the launch pad came from Musk himself. He first mentioned some of the outer engine nozzles are a little warped from high heating and strong aero forces, easily fixable. He later clarified, "Just inspected the Starship booster, which the arms have now placed back in its launch mount. Looks great. A few outer engine nozzles are warped from heating and some other minor issues, but these are easily addressed." This slight warping of the engine nozzles was expected given the intense heat and aero forces endured during the flight, but thankfully no explosions or critical failures occurred. Any other minor issues were likely related to sensitive systems in the upper part of the rocket, but thanks to the intact landing, evaluation and refurbishment will be more straightforward. This leads to Musk's confident assertion that the issues are easily fixable and addressed. SpaceX has also been sharing continuous positive updates regarding Super Heavy. They posted a striking image of the landing process captioned, "Super Heavy, powered by Raptor," and proudly stated, "Launching and returning the world's most powerful rocket." These feats demonstrate the company's relentless drive to push boundaries. SpaceX had emphasized before the flight, Starship's 5th flight test lifted off with our most ambitious test objectives yet, as we work to demonstrate fundamental techniques to Starship and Super Heavy's fully and rapidly reusable design. And on our first try, Mechazilla caught the booster. This achievement is pivotal as it marks a crucial step toward realizing SpaceX's goal of full rocket reusability. SpaceX further explained, "Launch and return are fundamental techniques for Starship's fully and rapidly reusable design," adding that thousands of distinct vehicle and pad criteria had to be met prior to catching the Super Heavy booster. Thanks to the tireless work of SpaceX engineers, we succeeded with catch on our first attempt. These updates underscore the monumental progress made during this flight and set the stage for even more ambitious missions ahead. The positive updates once again confirmed that this flight was a success, laying the foundation for Musk's statement, "Starship is designed to achieve reflight of its rocket booster ultimately within an hour after liftoff. The booster returns within around 5 minutes, so the remaining time is reloading propellant and placing a ship on top of the booster." Of course, those are ambitious goals, and it's challenging for SpaceX to achieve them right now. However, the future certainly holds potential. Dan Hoot, SpaceX's communications manager, noted,
"That's first ever booster catch, major step on the way to rapid reusability."
Before those future goals can be realized, SpaceX will need to complete the next flights, with Flight 6 being the critical first step. In a post-flight interview, Hoot added,
"Ship just gave us one heck of a show, making it through a controlled re-entry this time, flaps intact, made it down to the water. Hey, starships were meant to fly, and it sure as hell flew today. So let's get ready for the next one.
He also hinted that SpaceX might soon consider catching ship by the Mechazilla arm based on the progress made. Given the success of this mission, there's no reason for the FAA to request an investigation. Public safety was ensured at both Starbase and with the ship, which gives SpaceX confidence for the next flight. While Flight 6 is currently planned to catch both stages, the plan may change, as SpaceX might opt to land ship in the ocean one more time to ensure reliability. However, the second catch of Super Heavy is expected to proceed as planned. As for the preparations, both prototypes for Flight 6, S31, and B13 are making strong progress. Last month, S31 completed cryogenic and static fire tests, marking the completion of its separate tests. B13 has also completed cryogenic testing. Once B12 returns to the production site and SpaceX finishes refurbishing the launch pad, B13 is expected to be rolled over for static fire testing. After these steps, the two prototypes will be stacked and integrated tests will be conducted. With no legal obstacles in sight, I believe these preparations could wrap up quickly. It'd be fantastic if the flight were ready to launch by the end of this year. Just a few weeks ago, 4 flights in a single year may have seemed impossible, but now it's more feasible than ever. Are you excited for this? Reply Flight 6 this year in the comments if you're as eager as I am. Then, like, share, and subscribe to our channel to keep following SpaceX's development journey. Next up, we'll cover another update related to SpaceX, specifically the progress of the vast commercial space station. Following the final design updates for the Haven 1 module, VAST has announced its next phase of space station development and expansion, which is considered crucial to replacing the International Space Station. On X, the company stated, VAST introduces Haven 2, our proposed successor to the International Space Station, at IAC 2024. When fully built, Haven 2 will surpass the ISS in capabilities and cost efficiency. VAST also confirmed Haven 2's first module will be operational in 2028, ensuring continued U.S. and international presence in LEO after the ISS scheduled retirement in 2030. Haven 2 will begin with a single module launched on a Falcon Heavy as early as 2028. This module will be based on Haven 1, but will be 5 meters longer and have double the usable volume, with docking ports on each end. This schedule aims to ensure an overlap with the ISS and to guard against events like an early Russian withdrawal from the ISS partnership, which could prevent the ISS from operating until 2030 as NASA projects. VAST shared, with more volume and power capacity than its predecessor Haven 1, the Haven 2 lab accommodates larger payloads, provides integration options for experiments and equipment, and ensures ample power and thermal control for high-demand projects. The Haven 2 lab also meets NASA's basic laboratory capabilities for the CLD program, aligning with the highest standards for orbital research readiness. VAST plans to launch 3 additional modules roughly 6 months apart between 2029 and 2030, with the modules docked together in line. These modules will be effectively identical, but outfitted with different lab facilities, with future modules likely to be larger and launched on Starship. Between 2030 and 2032, VAST will add a larger 7-meter diameter core module and 4 more Haven 2 modules, fully realizing the next-generation commercial space station. However, VAST must first complete the Haven 1 launch next year, which will be carried out by the Falcon 9. Another significant step for VAST is joining NASA's CLD program. They said, with the planned retirement of the International Space Station by 2030, NASA conceived the Commercial LEO Destination program and is expected to select its Phase 2 winner or winners in mid-2026. Laser-focused on securing this contract, VAST has developed Haven 2, designed to offer the most compelling solution to ensure continued U.S. and international partner presence in low Earth orbit. VAST CEO Max Haut added, "Our focus this decade is to win the NASA Commercial LEO Destination contract and build the successor to the International Space Station. To achieve this, we will first demonstrate our capability by building and operating the world's first commercial space station, Haven 1, which is set to launch in 2025. Clearly, VAST's plans are well-defined and promising. With SpaceX's support in construction and operation, the VAST space station has great potential to replace the ISS in the future. Let's watch how it all unfolds. After many months of anticipation, Starship lifted off once again, carrying immense hopes for the aerospace industry and the world. The first half of the flight unfolded flawlessly, culminating in the groundbreaking achievement of catching Super Heavy B-12 with the chopstick. This milestone represents a significant breakthrough for SpaceX, setting it apart from competitors and ushering in a new era for the industry. With this success, all eyes shifted to orbit, eager to witness the journey of S30. At T plus 2 minutes and 40 seconds, the two stages separated seamlessly, aided by the hot staging system. The 6 engines of S30 ignited, propelling it away from its companion. The flight progressed smoothly thanks to the stability of the engines. At T plus 7 minutes and 59 seconds, the 3 vacuum engines shut down, followed by the 3 sea-level engines at T plus 8 minutes and 27 seconds. From this point, S30 continued its ascent without incident. During this flight, the ship reached its maximum altitude of 212 kilometers at T plus 22 minutes and 24 seconds, maintaining that height for over 3 minutes until T plus 25 minutes and 40 seconds. After this period, the ship began its descent. In terms of speed, S30 achieved a maximum velocity of 26,756 kilometers per hour at T plus 46 minutes and 54 seconds, while at an altitude of 90 kilometers. After reaching those significant milestones, both altitude and speed began to gradually decrease. At T plus 45 minutes and 33 seconds, the reentry process commenced, marked by the appearance of a pink plasma glow, signaling the start of the intense heating phase. This effect became increasingly pronounced, and the ship reached peak heating at approximately T plus 49 minutes. Throughout the majority of the reentry, the ship's components appeared intact, including the flaps. This allowed the camera to capture the entire journey clearly, unlike in Flight 4, where visibility was obscured. However, as the flight approached its conclusion, signs of damage began to emerge. At T plus 58 minutes and 38 seconds, a camera angle change revealed sparks emanating from the joint area between the flap and the ship. This issue worsened, becoming more visible from various camera angles. By T plus 1 hour, 5 minutes and 53 seconds, the fire had intensified, with flames clearly observable in the footage from T plus 1 hour, 5 minutes and 32 seconds. Ultimately, the ship splashed down in the water, but the fire continued to rage. From a distance, the flames appeared quite fierce, and soon after, a significant explosion occurred, indicating that the ship was likely no longer intact. What began as a dramatic journey ended in disappointment. Given the progress observed in earlier phases of the flight, I had hoped for a better conclusion. Unfortunately, this means that SpaceX did not achieve its goal of landing Starship intact. But SpaceX proudly announced, "Splashdown confirmed. Congratulations to the entire SpaceX team on an exciting 5th flight test of Starship." Additionally, Musk confirmed, ship landed precisely on target, second of the 2 objectives achieved. They had a solid foundation for such announcements. Like the previous flight, the ship splashed down into the ocean again, and since the problems occurred much later in the flight, it indicates that improvement in the ship's durability. This brings us to an important upgrade regarding the heat shield on S30. Following the issues encountered with S29 during Flight 4, SpaceX quickly replaced the old heat shield system with a new one. According to Musk, this new heat shield is twice as strong as its predecessor. In addition to unspecified enhancements to the material and structure of the tiles, ablative layers were added as a secondary layer of protection. This upgrade was designed to enhance the efficiency of the reentry process, and indeed, it appeared to be effective. Furthermore, the ship's engines performed well throughout the flight. This consistency builds on the performance seen in previous flights. SpaceX may soon consider igniting the engines in space to verify their efficiency, which will be crucial for future plans such as developing a refueling system or pushing Starship further into space. However, SpaceX still faces significant challenges ahead. The issues that arose at the end of the journey, culminating in the explosion, require thorough analysis. This task is undoubtedly complex and demands considerable effort. Additionally, it is clear that systems on the ship still need enhancements. Only with an intact landing can SpaceX contemplate advancing toward new goals, such as returning the ship to Starbase and successfully landing it using the Mechazilla arm. Landing the ship in this manner is notably more challenging than for the Super Heavy booster. Consequently, design upgrades will be necessary, including reinforcing the flaps and the ship itself. The heat shield system will also require further refinement to prevent issues like those experienced during this flight. The pressing question now is whether SpaceX can land the ship using the Mechazilla arm in the upcoming flight, especially in light of the recent complications. SpaceX initially planned to achieve this dual-stage landing during Flight 6, however, I believe it may be prudent for SpaceX to conduct another flight with the ship landing in the ocean to ensure reliability. A full landing attempt using the Mechazilla arm might be safer and more reliable for Flight 7. What are your thoughts on this approach? Many may feel discouraged by the ship's dramatic end, but don't worry, I don't believe it will slow down Starship's progress. Thanks to the success of the Super Heavy booster and SpaceX's confirmation, along with Musk's reassurances about the ship, we can look forward to the upcoming flights happening soon. The FAA will likely conduct an investigation, but unless there are public safety concerns, approval for the next flight could follow quickly. In the best case scenario, Flight 6 could take off later this year. Shortly after, Flight 7 could aim for the long-awaited milestone of a full landing, potentially early next year. In the near future, we might see recovery ships deployed to retrieve parts of the S30. SpaceX will analyze these components, and the data from the landing will help upgrade their systems, laying the groundwork for future success, similar to how SpaceX made remarkable improvements with Super Heavy. So, let's pay tribute to this warrior for its role in pushing forward the Starship project. Show your support by commenting S30 below, and don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on SpaceX's incredible journey. Next, let's discuss the latest update regarding the Falcon Heavy and its hurricane delay. The Europa Clipper mission was initially scheduled for launch on October 10th, but it was postponed due to the impacts of Hurricane Milton and subsequent FAA delays. After receiving the necessary clearance from the FAA, SpaceX and NASA aimed to launch the mission on October 13th. However, the storm's effects are still being felt. In the most recent update, NASA has delayed the launch of its flagship mission to Jupiter by at least another day. The agency, along with SpaceX, is conducting additional checks to ensure the spacecraft is fully prepared to fly after Hurricane Milton wreaked havoc at its Florida launch site. The Europa Clipper mission is now slated to launch to Jupiter's icy moon Europa no earlier than October 14th using a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket from Pad 39A of NASA's Kennedy Space Center. While a specific launch time has not yet been confirmed, it could be around 12:06 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. This $5 billion project aims to explore Europa, known for its vast water geysers that may indicate a subsurface salty ocean, possibly containing more water than all of Earth's oceans combined. Scientists believe that Europa is one of the most promising locations in the search for signs of extraterrestrial life. The Europa Clipper is equipped with a suite of instruments designed to assess the moon's gravitational field, analyze its interactions with Jupiter, and utilize radar to penetrate Europa's thick ice shell to reach the ocean below. Additionally, the spacecraft will carry cameras and dust analyzers to investigate the moon's thin exosphere. If all goes according to plan, Europa Clipper is expected to arrive at its destination on April 11th of 2030. For the mission to proceed, it needs a successful launch, which hinges on conditions at NASA's Kennedy Space Center recently impacted by Hurricane Milton. Initial assessments revealed only minor damage to the center, allowing operations to resume. As of October 11th, Kennedy Space Center officials stated the damage assessment and recovery team has completed their assessment of the center and its facilities and determined that employees can safely return on site to resume working. The damage identified is manageable and in line with the items the ride-out teams previously identified, including minor impacts such as ripped awnings and damage to doors and traffic lights. This upcoming flight will mark Falcon Heavy's 11th mission, underscoring its remarkable track record, as all previous 10 missions have been successful. Although this year's activity is less than anticipated compared to last year's achievements, Falcon Heavy remains active compared to many previous years. If successful, this mission could signal an even stronger operational year ahead for Falcon Heavy. With SpaceX's recent success with the Starship project, there's a renewed sense of confidence for this upcoming launch. Let's hope the team can navigate the challenges posed by the hurricane to ensure Falcon Heavy takes to the skies successfully. Stay tuned for further updates. After much anticipation, Flight 5 officially lifted off at the beautiful dawn of Boca Chica Beach. At 7:25 a.m. Central Daylight Savings Time, after fuel loading and water deluge activation, Starship Flight 5 took off with its usual impressive thrust. The ascent was smooth with no engine failures, a crucial factor since the Raptor engines are vital for navigation and landing. At T plus 2 minutes 40 seconds, Starship separated from Super Heavy B-12 using the hot staging system, and B-12 began its descent after reaching 96 kilometers in altitude. The descent process was fast, with B-12 experiencing rapid decompression. At T plus 6 minutes and 7 seconds, a new camera angle provided a great view of the booster's fast descent, still traveling over 3,200 kilometers per hour at 15 kilometers altitude. As it neared the landing, the engines glowed red, and at T plus 6 minutes and 30 seconds, the inner and middle ring engines activated, slowing the booster down from over 1,200 kilometers per hour. By T plus 6 minutes 37 seconds, only 3 inner engines were working as it approached the tower. And then the moment everyone had been waiting for. Super Heavy entered the tower, and the Mechazilla arm caught it smoothly. The entire catch took just 10 seconds, and Chopstick closed in just 6 seconds, faster than expected, putting previous concerns to rest. Despite a small fire at the booster's aft section, the catch was a complete success. At T plus 7 minutes, the booster was stabilized, marking the end of its successful journey. SpaceX successfully recovered Super Heavy, thrilling everyone watching in person and online, as well as SpaceX engineers in the control room. SpaceX proudly tweeted, "Mechazilla has caught the Super Heavy booster." Musk, founder of SpaceX, followed up with the announcement, "The tower has caught the rocket." Soon after, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson added to the celebration by reposting SpaceX's tweet with the message, "Congratulations to SpaceX on its successful booster catch and 5th Starship flight test today. As we prepare to go back to the moon under Artemis, continued testing will prepare us for the bold missions that lie ahead, including to the South Pole region of the moon, and then on to Mars." Before that, Musk had shared SpaceX's live stream with a simple yet powerful message, "Good morning." Yes, October 13th is indeed a good morning, one that'll be remembered as a pivotal day in aerospace history, perhaps even the highlight of the decade. This achievement should be marked in every enthusiast's calendar. SpaceX has reached the pinnacle of technology to accomplish such a feat. The precise coordination between the Super Heavy booster and the Mechazilla tower required split-second accuracy, something Musk once humorously described as using chopsticks to catch a fly. Pulling this off was no small task, and it stands as a testament to the relentless work of SpaceX's engineers. They spent years preparing for this, dedicating thousands of hours to perfect the technology and execution that led to this moment. On the engine side, Super Heavy Booster 12, or B-12, underwent rigorous testing and major upgrades. The Raptor engines, in particular, were heavily modified behind the scenes in the Mega Bay for months. Their stable performance throughout the flight, including the crucial deceleration phase that enabled the booster to land successfully, confirms that the upgrades were effective. These improvements were the culmination of lessons learned from earlier flights. In Flight 1 and 2, boosters B7 and 9 exploded mid-air. During Flight 3, B-10 came close to landing, but ultimately exploded. In Flight 4, B-11 successfully landed in the ocean, though it was engulfed by a major fire. B-11's hardware was recently retrieved and brought back to Starbase, providing valuable data for further refinements. The journey has been long and filled with challenges, but each flight brought SpaceX closer to success. B-12's flawless recovery by the Mechazilla arm represents the culmination of years of progress, an extraordinary symbol for the company's persistence and technological mastery. This is not just a triumph for SpaceX, but a landmark achievement in the aerospace industry as a whole. In recent months, SpaceX has significantly upgraded the launch tower, focusing on its key component, the chopstick arms. These arms have undergone extensive testing, including opening, closing, lifting, lowering, and rotation exercises. Most notably, Chopstick was recently tested for its load-bearing capacity, a crucial factor for handling the enormous Super Heavy booster. A memorable moment came when Chopstick lifted B-12 to an unprecedented height as it was rolled to the launch pad, a scene that repeated itself on October 13th, marking yet another milestone in SpaceX's journey toward full reusability. Following the successful catch of B-12, Chopstick will lower the booster back onto the orbital launch mount, or OLM for short, for further inspection. Engineers will immediately assess any issues, particularly investigating the small fire observed during the landing. Once inspected, B-12 will likely return to the production site for a more detailed evaluation, marking a critical moment in data collection. Unlike previous boosters that were either partially recovered or destroyed, B-12 is fully intact, providing an invaluable wealth of data to help SpaceX improve future launches. This intact recovery allows SpaceX to gain deeper insights into both the booster and the launch system itself. Not only will B-12 be thoroughly examined, but the entire launch infrastructure, including the OLM, tower, and chopstick, will also undergo checks and, if necessary, upgrades in preparation for future missions. The data collected will be pivotal in enhancing these systems for subsequent flights, pushing SpaceX closer to achieving its vision of complete rocket reusability. Given this success, it seems highly likely that future missions will continue to utilize the Super Heavy catch method. Eventually, SpaceX may even attempt to catch the Starship itself upon re-entry, moving one step closer to full reusability. However, this will take time, especially considering the dramatic landing of Starship S30 during this mission. Regardless, the successful recovery of B-12 represents a significant breakthrough for the Starship project. It's a remarkable achievement that solidifies SpaceX's path toward revolutionizing space exploration. If you're as excited about this as we are, type SpaceX Starship Flight 5 in the comments section to honor this momentous occasion. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to keep up with SpaceX's ongoing development, particularly the post-launch updates from Flight 5. Now let's dive into the updates regarding the delay of the Crew 8 mission. Originally scheduled to undock on October 7th, Crew 8's homecoming was delayed due to the impact of Hurricane Milton. The powerful storm stirred up the seas in the planned splashdown zone, making it unsafe for the crew's return. Both NASA and SpaceX decided to wait for the storm to pass before allowing the mission to proceed. As a result, the undocking of Crew 8 was rescheduled for October 13th, with a splashdown initially planned for no earlier than 3:38 p.m. EDT on October 14th, off the coast of Florida. However, the weather in the splashdown area remained unfavorable, causing further delays. No new target date for the undocking has been set, as NASA and SpaceX will reassess the situation during a weather briefing scheduled for 11 a.m. EDT on the 14th. This means that the Crew 8 astronauts will have to wait a bit longer before they could begin their return journey to Earth. In a post on X, SpaceX tweeted, "Due to unfavorable weather conditions off the coast of Florida, Dragon is standing down from today's undocking from the space station. Teams will continue to monitor weather conditions for the next available undocking opportunity." Crew 8 consists of 4 astronauts: NASA's Matthew Dominic, Michael Barat, Jeanette Epps, and Alexander Grebenkin of Russia's space agency Roscosmos. The crew launched aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket on March 3rd and arrived at the International Space Station 2 days later. This mission marks the 8th operational long-duration ISS astronaut mission that SpaceX has flown for NASA. The next crew, Crew 9, arrived at the ISS on September 29th, ready to take over the duties from Crew 8. Hurricane Milton also impacted other major missions. NASA and SpaceX had planned to launch the Europa Clipper mission, a $5 billion project aimed at studying Jupiter's moon Europa on October 10th. However, the storm forced them to push the launch date back, with the new target now being Sunday, October 13th, and no earlier than 12:06 p.m. EDT. As we continue to monitor these weather-related delays, we're eager to see both the safe return of Crew 8 and the successful launch of the Europa Clipper mission, so stay tuned for further updates. That means the storm continues to cause significant disruptions to aerospace operations. However, with the success of Flight 5, I believe this will provide a strong foundation for SpaceX to complete the remaining crucial missions. Hopefully, the weather will soon stabilize, allowing SpaceX and other companies in the industry to return to normal operations. I also extend my hopes to the people affected by the storm. May they swiftly overcome the difficulties brought by Hurricane Milton, and together we can continue to follow SpaceX's development journey and the exciting milestones yet to come. With the latest updates, SpaceX catch the Super Heavy booster with the Mechazilla arm, a moment posed to be truly extraordinary. In the past, rockets were largely expendable, with the boosters landing in the ocean and upper stages burning up in orbit. Reusable spacecraft would re-enter and land using parachutes, often in the ocean or on land. The space shuttle, with its runway landing capability, was perhaps the most unique approach to reusability. Then came SpaceX, revolutionizing spaceflight. In December of 2015, they became the first organization to successfully land a booster, achieving what many thought belonged only in science fiction: vertical landing. Just a few months later, in April of 2016, SpaceX made history again by landing a booster on a drone ship. Since then, SpaceX has continued to set itself apart with groundbreaking feats. Now they are to push the boundaries once more by catching a rocket with a robotic arm. The risks and challenges are substantial. Controlling a booster as it navigates, lands, and is caught and stabilized by another system requires exceptional precision. Yet, it'll be a moment even more remarkable than their achievements with the Falcon rockets. SpaceX aims to catch both stages of the rocket during Flight 6 or Flight 7, marking the first full recovery and potentially reuse of an entire rocket. This would represent the pinnacle of aerospace technology and a major leap forward in space exploration. Let's move beyond the typical view and look at the true significance of this mission. We all know that Elon Musk and SpaceX have developed ambitious plans for Starship, the most notable being the colonization of Mars. Musk envisions sending 1 million people and 1 million tons of supplies to Mars in order to establish a self-sustaining city. However, the optimal window to launch missions to Mars occurs every 26 months, making timing crucial. During each of these windows, Starship will need to launch frequently. Musk has described a scenario where SpaceX launches 10 Starships per day, each carrying over 200 tons of cargo. This would result in 1.5 million tons delivered into orbit per launch window, with about 250,000 tons being transported to Mars. Given this schedule, it'll take at least a decade to deliver 1 million tons to Mars. The timeline is pressing. Musk has set a goal to land the first Starship on Mars within the next 2 years and to send humans within 4. Once this is achieved, SpaceX plans to begin constructing a Martian city within 20 years, a rapid pace for such a monumental task. But for any of this to happen, SpaceX must first achieve the capability to launch Starships at a rate of 10 flights per day. This will require faster production, quicker regulatory approvals, and crucially, reusability. SpaceX also has plans for Starship beyond Mars, such as the Earth-to-Earth project, where Starship would function like a commercial airliner. Though this project faces fewer technical challenges than Mars colonization, it will still require a high launch frequency comparable to today's aviation industry. This brings us to the significance of SpaceX's decision to catch rockets with the Mechazilla arm. Why did they choose this method over the previous ones? While Falcon 9's landing method on drone ships, for example, offers flexibility and reduces risk by optimizing fuel and avoiding landing complications, it has a key disadvantage: the time it takes to return the rocket to land and refurbish it, slowing down the reflight process. Catching the rocket on a tower, on the other hand, allows for immediate refurbishment at the launch site. If the rocket remains in good condition, it can be relaunched almost immediately. Musk has set ambitious goals, reflying Starship daily and Super Heavy every hour. The Mechazilla arm is crucial to achieving this, though multiple launch towers will be necessary to support such high-frequency launches. The first step in this journey is Flight 5. First, the last 2 flights have demonstrated the stability of reaching orbit, and the landing process has improved significantly. On Flight 4, for the first time, both stages were successfully landed. According to Bill Gerstenmaier, the previous landing was accurate within half a centimeter, suggesting that catching the booster is a reasonable next step. Second, SpaceX has been extensively preparing for this moment. The rocket itself has undergone hardware and software upgrades. The engines on the Super Heavy booster have likely been thoroughly tested, given their critical role in navigation and deceleration. Meanwhile, the Mechazilla arm has undergone months of upgrades and rigorous testing, including stress tests, operational checks, and more. Successfully catching Super Heavy will prove SpaceX's technological prowess and pave the way for full reusability, an essential goal. Full reusability not only supports frequent launches to meet SpaceX's ambitious goals, but it also reduces costs significantly. Reducing launch costs will make missions to the Moon and Mars more affordable and open up access to Starship for more people, including for the Earth-to-Earth project. That's why the catching method and the first attempt on Flight 5 are so critical. Applying nice catch in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on SpaceX's journey. SpaceX's innovative method of catching the Super Heavy booster using the Mechazilla arm is set to be a game changer for rocket reusability, but it has faced considerable delays due to regulatory challenges. Flight 5, which aims to demonstrate this technology, has been slowed primarily by the FAA and other environmental agencies, which have raised safety concerns despite SpaceX's strong safety record. The focus of these agencies seems to be on potential risks rather than on the innovation itself, creating a significant barrier for SpaceX as it seeks to advance its technology. This regulatory friction is occurring at a crucial time for the U.S. space industry, particularly as China is accelerating its own space program. China has already sent rovers to the moon, collected samples, and aims to send astronauts to the lunar surface by the end of this decade. Within the next 5 years, they plan to establish a lunar base with operations targeted for 2035. While China's timeline is slightly behind that of the US, the gap could close quickly if American companies like SpaceX continue to face delays from bureaucratic red tape. Gwynne Shotwell, SpaceX's COO, has highlighted that this problem is largely specific to the US, where innovation is being hampered by an outdated regulatory system, while China continues to press forward rapidly. The FAA's stance that Flight 5 should closely mirror the mission profile of the previous flight reflects a cautious approach, but this insistence on repeating the past could stifle the very innovation that SpaceX and the US space program need to stay ahead. Flight 5 represents an opportunity to demonstrate true advances in rocket reusability with the goal of recovering the Super Heavy booster mid-air. This is not just a technical leap for SpaceX, but also a critical step toward achieving fully reusable spacecraft, a key element for future missions to the moon, Mars, and beyond. It could prove that the FAA's concerns are overblown and highlight the inefficiencies in their current regulatory system. A successful mission would be a strong rebuttal to the agencies that have delayed progress and could serve as a catalyst for broader regulatory reforms. SpaceX's achievement would send a clear message that safety and innovation are not mutually exclusive and that progress can be made without compromising essential safety standards. In the bigger picture, this success could drive the U.S. space industry forward, helping it maintain its competitive edge on the global stage. Without reform, there is a real risk that the U.S. could lose its lead in space exploration to nations like China, who face fewer bureaucratic barriers. The success of Flight 5 could be a turning point, prompting changes that would allow faster innovation while still adhering to safety and environmental standards. Such a shift is critical if the U.S. wants to retain its position as the global leader in space exploration. In the long term, regulatory reform is essential for ensuring that the U.S. remains at the forefront of space exploration. Innovation in space technology, like the reusability that SpaceX is pioneering, is key to future missions and ambitions, including colonization of the moon and Mars. Without a more agile and supportive regulatory framework, the U.S. risks falling behind. SpaceX's ability to demonstrate the viability of its technology in Flight 5 could pave the way for a more progressive, innovation-friendly approach, securing America's leadership in the next frontier of space exploration. This moment has the potential to become a symbol of 21st century space innovation, something once thought impossible. More importantly, it'll pave the way for a future where rockets are fully reusable, launched more frequently, and at significantly lower costs. It could also mark a turning point where regulatory barriers no longer hinder progress, allowing space exploration and settlement to become accessible to all. And how remarkable would it be to proudly say that the first step toward the future began in the United States? When we talk about SpaceX, there's so much to cover. They're the strongest aerospace company in the world, lead in annual rocket launches, operate the most reliable spacecraft, manage a global satellite system, and are developing the largest rocket designed to reach Mars. So, what drives SpaceX to achieve so many milestones? Certainly, it's the great and talented workforce behind the scenes, but above all, it's the leadership at the helm. While Elon Musk is known for setting ambitious, sometimes crazy goals, it's Gwynne Shotwell who quietly turns those goals into reality. Right now, SpaceX is facing one of its biggest challenges with the development of Starship. The FAA's regulation means SpaceX will have to wait until at least November for Flight 5, a delay that has frustrated many, including SpaceX itself and Elon Musk, who has publicly expressed his dissatisfaction. But frustration alone won't change things. In moments like this, all eyes turn to Gwynne Shotwell for hope. Shotwell has played a crucial role in advancing SpaceX's projects, especially with the launch of Starship Flight 2. After last year's delays from the FAA and FWS, many doubted that Flight 2 could launch in November, but thanks to Shotwell's negotiation skills, it did. Her ability to build strong relationships with key agencies like NASA has been vital. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson has praised her leadership, saying, "Elon has a president that he lets run the company, and her name is Gwynne Shotwell." When concerns arose after Musk's purchase of Twitter, Nelson reassured the public by saying, "I hugged her with a smile on my face because I know she is running that thing. She's running SpaceX." This level of trust underscores Shotwell's importance, not just in managing the company, but in navigating complex regulatory landscapes to secure launch licenses. With the current challenges, SpaceX will once again lean on her diplomatic expertise. Recently, at a Texas House of Representatives meeting, Gwynne Shotwell tackled several key issues, including the growing tensions between Starship operations and federal environmental agencies. During her address, she reaffirmed SpaceX's strong commitment to working closely with regulatory bodies, such as the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TSEC, to ensure compliance and cooperation. She also urged lawmakers to modernize existing laws, making them more supportive of technological innovation and the nation's developmental goals. While acknowledging some of the environmental impacts, like the crater formed after Starship Flight 1, Shotwell reassured the committee that SpaceX is taking active measures to mitigate these concerns. For instance, she highlighted the installation of a water deluge system designed to reduce environmental effects during launches. In addition, she emphasized the critical role SpaceX's work plays in supporting NASA's Artemis program, which is focused on returning the United States to the moon ahead of international competitors, particularly China. Gwynne Shotwell's approach is both measured and highly persuasive. Rather than heightening tensions, she consistently offers a cooperative and pragmatic path forward. This diplomatic strategy, I believe, is key to achieving faster, more effective resolutions in complex situations. While the immediate impact of her efforts on the FAA's decision regarding Starship Flight 5 remains uncertain, her diplomatic influence may have far-reaching consequences. Over time, her approach could significantly shape the regulatory landscape, potentially paving the way for more frequent and streamlined Starship launches in the future. Regardless of how the situation unfolds, Gwynne Shotwell's contributions to both SpaceX and the broader aerospace industry over the past 2 decades cannot be overstated. Her leadership has been instrumental in driving innovation and progress in the field. If you admire her leadership and vision, show your support by typing Gwynne Shotwell in the comments section down below. And don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to our channel to stay informed on SpaceX's incredible journey and future developments. In addition to driving faster flight schedules, Gwynne Shotwell has played a crucial role in the development of Starship and other SpaceX systems. Starship, as we know, is an ambitious and costly project. Without a clear vision and strategic planning, even a company as powerful as SpaceX could face significant risks. Musk is well known for emphasizing simplification and cost-cutting in rocket development, and Shotwell has fully embraced this approach. Together, they've built a unique development methodology at SpaceX that focuses on eliminating unnecessary systems, integrating functions, and upgrading technologies to make everything simpler, more cost-effective, and efficient. Most notably with the Raptor engine. Beyond her leadership in securing contracts, Gwynne Shotwell is a passionate advocate for reusability, a defining feature of SpaceX's operations that has drastically reduced production costs. This focus on reusability not only offers significant economic advantages, but also distinguishes SpaceX from its competitors within the aerospace industry, inspiring others to follow suit. The Falcon 9 booster and Dragon spacecraft stand as prime examples of this groundbreaking innovation. Now, Musk, Shotwell, and their teams are working toward the next milestone, making Starship fully reusable, a feat no organization has yet to accomplish. This monumental achievement could be just months away, pending regulatory approval. Despite the push for optimization, the development of Starship has required substantial financial investment. The journey from Starship's inception to its current stage, through numerous prototypes, test flights, and infrastructure expansion, has been an expensive endeavor. This only underscores the critical role Gwynne Shotwell plays in ensuring SpaceX's continued success and financial resilience. According to reports, SpaceX incurred losses of $968 million in 2021 and $559 million in 2022, largely due to Starship's development costs. In 2023 alone, the company invested $2 billion into the Starship program. However, in a remarkable turn of events, SpaceX managed to achieve a profit of $55 million in the first quarter of 2023. Reaching profitability while building such a vast and ambitious system is a testament to Shotwell's exceptional leadership and strategic expertise. Two of Gwynne Shotwell's key contributions have been instrumental in SpaceX's success. First, she has consistently secured rocket missions for various organizations, including one of SpaceX's largest and most important clients, NASA. Her exceptional negotiation skills played a crucial role in establishing a partnership with NASA as early as the Falcon 1 days, when SpaceX's reliability had yet to be fully proven. As Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and Dragon evolved, SpaceX gradually became NASA's primary partner for space missions. This has resulted in prestigious contracts such as the Commercial Crew Program, the Artemis Program, and the National Security Space Launch Program. Beyond serving the U.S. government, SpaceX under Shotwell's leadership has also assisted foreign aerospace agencies and private companies in launching their missions, significantly boosting the company's revenue. Notable examples include missions like the European Space Agency's Galileo launch. These lucrative contracts have provided SpaceX with the financial stability necessary to both sustain and expand the development of Starship, allowing for more ambitious advancements in space exploration. And that is one of the ways SpaceX generates revenue to fund its operations, including the development and maintenance of Starship. Another significant contribution from Gwynne Shotwell that has bolstered SpaceX's financial growth is Starlink. To date, the company has launched more than 7,000 Starlink satellites into orbit, creating a groundbreaking internet system capable of reaching remote and disaster-stricken areas across the globe. This system has helped change the world by providing global connectivity. In return, Starlink has amassed 4 million subscribers in just over 3 years, generating substantial revenue that allows SpaceX to continue developing and investing in Starship. These positive financial indicators lay the foundation for SpaceX's future Starship development. After achieving stable operations with Starship, the mission of sending humans to Mars and building a base on the Red Planet will require immense resources, far more than current levels. While this is no small task, under the leadership of Shotwell, there's confidence that SpaceX will continue to rise to the challenge. But to move toward ambitious goals like returning to the moon or reaching Mars, Gwynne Shotwell, Musk, and the entire SpaceX team have a lot of work ahead. First, they must focus on the upcoming Flight 5, which will be the first time SpaceX attempts to recover a rocket using the Mechazilla arm, an essential step toward achieving full reusability. This milestone is crucial for unlocking future advancements. Next, they'll need to continue negotiating with government agencies to secure more frequent launch approvals, enabling them to achieve stability and be prepared for significant missions like Artemis and eventually Mars colonization. Many challenges lie ahead for SpaceX, but based on Gwynne Shotwell's proven leadership, she will continue to guide this aerospace powerhouse to new heights. It's incredible that our world has someone with her determination and talent. That's why the scenarios I mentioned at the beginning never happened, because we have Gwynne Shotwell. Well, folks, that's about it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, this has been Kevin from Great SpaceX. Until next time, keep looking up.